Duty 4, World at War can be summarized as COD 4 with a World War II coat of paint, featuring a campaign that, while for years to come and has become synonymous with Treyarch's entries. But all of this begs the question, is Call of Duty World at War underrated, or just one last hurrah to the dying World War II aesthetic? World at War released in the fall of 2008 and began development after Treyarch's previous title, Call of Duty 3. After the success of Call of Duty 4 and its shift to the modern setting, there were many factors going against Treyarch. By this time, the World War II shooter has been done to death as Activision probably set their sights on future releases being in the modern day. The team also had to learn to use the engine Call of Duty 4 utilized to assist in depicting the aesthetic in as gritty and visceral as they could given the limited development time. There were also lots of things cut from the final release, such as British forces and weaponry. These and many more reasons should paint a clearer picture into the landscape of World at War's release. But how does the actual content hold up? The player begins in the shoes of Private Miller as they're about to be executed by Japanese soldiers, but is saved by Corporal Roebuck and Sergeant Sullivan. After blowing up an ammo depot and escaping, the invasion of Peleliu Island begins in September 1944. Making their way through Japanese lines, Sergeant Sullivan is stabbed as Roebuck becomes leader. Fighting through airfields, mortar pits, and eventually capturing the point allows US ships to advance and take control of Peleliu. Meanwhile, during the Battle of Stalingrad in 1942, Private Dmitry Petrenko survives an encounter with German troops as they execute survivors on their march. Together with Sergeant Reznov, they hunt down General Amsel and assassinate him from afar before jumping into the Volga River below. 3 years later at Silo, Dmitry is captured, but the Red Army saves him just in time as he is reunited with Reznov and introduced to Private Chernov. The Red Army storms through Silo to wipe out a German camp. Piloting a T-34 tank, the Red Army makes their way to a train station and boards the trains, making their way to Berlin. Fighting through the streets, they find German troops surrendering as Reznov gives Dmitry the choice on how to deal with them.
Dmitry, it is your choice.
Entering the metro after almost being blasted by artillery, they fight their way through as the tunnel becomes flooded. The Battle of Okinawa occurs as the crew of the PBY Catalina assault a fleet of 3 merchant ships guarded by Zeros. Another PBY, named Hammerhead, is destroyed on their way back to base as the crew attempts to rescue as many survivors in the water as possible. Before the Catalina is destroyed, US aerial reinforcements swoop in to save the crew as they fly off. Roebuck's squad clears out entrenched Imperial Japanese forces to allow their tanks to make their way to Shuri Castle for the final assault. After storming through, they find surrendering Japanese troops, but as Roebuck and Polonsky search them, it is revealed they have live grenades concealed. Unable to save both in time, Miller saves Polonsky and they fend off the last of the Japanese forces. After airstriking both buildings, Polonsky hands Miller Roebuck's dog tags. The final assault on the Reichstag begins as Reznov pulls Dmitry out of the flooded metro. During the assault, Chernov is ambushed by a flamethrower and presumably dies of his wounds. The rest of the army makes their way to the roof as Dmitry goes to plant the Soviet flag, but is shot by a hiding German trooper.
can make it, my friend. You always survive. The honor should be yours. As long as you live, the heart of this army can never be broken.
After Reznov saves Dmitri, the flag is planted and the Reichstag is captured.
It is solemn. General Eisenhower informs me that the forces of Germany have surrendered to the United Nations. The victory won in the West must now be won in the East. We are gathered here, representatives of the major warring powers, to conclude a solemn agreement whereby peace may be restored. It is my earnest hope, and indeed the hope of all mankind, that from this solemn occasion a better world shall emerge out of the blood and carnage of the past. A world founded upon faith and understanding. Of man and the fulfillment of his most cherished wish of freedom, tolerance, and justice.
I love World at War's campaign, don't get me wrong, but in terms of the actual plot, it's what you expect from a World War II shooter. You point your gun at the enemy Axis powers and you shoot your way to the Reichstag and plant the flag on top of it. All we're missing is an actual D-Day mission like in the first Call of Duty. What it lacks in originality, it makes up for in its presentation both visually and auditorily. The characters are what make World at War's campaign stand out from the sea of World War II shooters, from Roebuck and Polonsky just trying to get back home in one piece, to Reznov and Dmitri being brothers in arms as they invade Berlin. I also love the use of real footage in the cutscenes. It's a small detail, but it shows the real struggle these people went through. Another factor is the game's overall look. The desaturated colors and the textures, for example, give the impression that this isn't some glorified scenario, this was a bloodbath. The limb dismemberment too. You shoot somebody with a trench gun or blow up with a grenade, you will see their chest open up or their legs be blown off. The soundtrack too is just great. Some tracks have this grimacing tone, and others have this pump you up type of energy. Give it a listen. One feature that World at War's campaign does have over COD 4 is the co-op campaign, allowing up to 4 players to experience most of the campaign together, excluding 2 levels. I definitely welcome this feature, because stuff like this is always more fun with friends. A solid campaign that shows the gruesomeness of the war, Treyarch did a wonderful job with it. I'll be honest, multiplayer is kind of hard to talk about if you've already played Call of Duty 4s, because they are basically the same with a couple tweaks, additions, and or reskins. Instead of having assault rifles and sniper rifles like in Modern Warfare, Treyarch decided to make rifles and bolt-action rifles their own categories, but we still have the SMG, shotgun, LMG, and pistol category, and besides obviously being weapons of the time period, they operate like you would expect weapons of the category too. The perk system is also nearly identical to the previous games, save for some additions or renaming of certain perks. Last Stand has been renamed to Why is it still here?! The biggest innovation World at War gave to Call of Duty's multiplayer was the addition of selectable thrown lethal grenades, ranging from a set of 3, the Mark II frag grenade, the number 74 sticky grenade, and Molotovs. There was also a set of non-lethal throwables to choose from, smokes to block line of sight, tabun gas to blur vision and slow movement to those caught inside, as signal flares to blind and remove HUD elements from those standing too close to it. The killstreak system is also mostly the same, except instead of an attack chopper at 7, you call on attack dogs to hunt enemies for 60 seconds. There's also drivable tanks in certain maps, and you can equip perks specific to them. My favorite maps being Station, Macon, Courtyard, Castle, and Dome. Not that Dome! In spite of all this, I still love World at War's multiplayer, especially the war game mode where it's a constant game of tug of war to see who can capture all 5 flags. My favorite weapons are the Mosin Nagant, M1 Garand, STG-44, Thompson, Type 100, PPSH-41, M1897 Trench Gun, and DP-28. So that's it then, right? That's World at War in a nutshell. Not quite. Let's rewind back to the end credits. By far what most people remember World at War for is the introduction of what would become the leading third head mode of Call of Duty for years. The history has been covered in more detail by other videos, but to summarize it, Treyarch wanted to include a bonus for completing the campaign like how Infinity Ward had Mile High Club in COD 4. Originally planned to be a D-Day scenario where you play as the Germans, this was scrapped and deemed as too controversial. During the development of the campaign, somebody noted that the Japanese soldiers on Little Resistance moved like zombies, and a little side project began. Inspired by a Flash game called The Last Stand and zombie media being everywhere in the early to late 2000s, the mode was presented to Activision and they loved it, making sure not to tease it for the players to discover after beating the campaign. Call of Duty Zombies, as it became known later on, was that lightning in a bottle invention that not only gave people a way to play the game that was new, it solidified the idea of the third mode, something Infinity Ward would catch on to for their future entries. At its core, Zombies is a wave-based survival mode for 1 to 4 players, in which you start with nothing but a pistol and grenades and see how long you can last against an unending, undead horde of ever-increasing resilience. To aid in your survival, you earn points for hitting and killing zombies, which gives you the ability to purchase doors to new areas of the map, guns off chalk drawing outlines, or opening the elusive mystery box, which has a majority of the weapons and the extraordinary ray gun wonder weapon, which look unlike anything else in the game. Future maps over the DLC season would add more foundational elements of the mode's identity, like perks, special rounds, new wonder weapons, a voiced main crew, and the Pack-a-Punch upgrade machine. I love Call of Duty Zombies. It was the thing I bonded over with my friends in my youth, and seeing the mode's humble but still fun beginnings always brings me great joy. I should also mention that the game's modding scene for custom zombies maps was great. Before we had Black Ops 3 mod tools, we had a bunch of fan-created maps with officially released mod tools. Activision would never let this happen nowadays. So, to answer the question earlier, is Call of Duty World at War underrated? Personally, I think it's not so clear-cut. The campaign is an amazing experience that shows the brutal and bloody nature of the Second World War. The multiplayer, while it may not be a huge step forward, is still fun to boot up every now and then. And Zombies, despite its jankiness compared to its future derivatives, is still a blast. So if you're looking to play this for the first time, or perhaps miss the simpler times of the World War II era shooter, pick up the game for a good price, or just boot it up for old time's sake. Thank you all for watching till the end and your support on the Call of Duty 4 review. It means a lot to this VTuber. If you like what you saw, please consider hitting the like button as it helps others discover the video, and maybe even subscribe if you like these types of semi-formal reviews. I also recently opened up a Discord server. Feel free to join, invite link will be in the description. Before this video ends though, I wish to say rest in peace to the recently deceased Tom Kane, who provided the voice of Takeo in Zombies all throughout the future games until Black Ops 4, as well as to all those who gave their lives in the conflict. Thank you all for watching, I'll see you in the next video.